Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the A3 Review.
In this episode, it's going to be all about comparisons.
That's right, Boris. Comparisons is the thing today in this video because we know how you guys love them so much. So in the first segment, we're going to be comparing a couple of figures from the Takara Lost Age line, which I thought ended a long time ago, but apparently they got one more figure to put out before this line is completely over. And what else we got, Boris?
We also got some Function X by FansProject. There's been a lot of new recolors recently, so we're going to take a look at that.
And to top things off, we have a special guest for our comparison video. So you're going to be surprised to see who's back. Oh, my name's Alex.
I'm Boris.
And you're watching the A3U Review. So you guys thought that the Age of Extinction craziness is over. Well, I think that Takara decided to put their last product right now, so this will be the end of it. Will be the very last time we're talking about anything Age of Extinction.
It is never over.
It is never over. All right. Well, what we have right here is Black Knight Optimus Prime from Takara, comparing it with Armor Knight and the regular version, but all of these are from Takara. And here are the boxes.
So just a quick note, these ones were widely available as an import. This was actually a Toys R Us exclusive, so you could only get it from Toys R Us Japan. Some retailers did import it, but this one came at a premium. So we just want to take a look and see, is it worth it? Is this worth your money? And compared to the first version, you know, what the differences are.
So we now have them in robot mode, and there are a number of differences here. I think we should first talk about the physical differences.
One of the biggest obvious ones is the chest.
Yes, that's the most apparent one.
Is very much different, and you know, we are doing comparison between three. So I'm talking actually just about the very first 8001 mold compared to these two molds, because these are actually the same mold. So if you actually look at it, the chest is very different. This one doesn't seem to have as much detail as this does, and then also there's the skirt as well.
Yeah,
just the mold difference. You'll notice this has kind of like, I guess it's true to the Armor Knight. This is called the Armor Knight, and this is called the Black Knight. It looks more like Knight-esque.
Yeah.
Shins are very much the same, but then Spence pointed out the feet are very different.
Totally different.
And these feet actually do look a lot better, like you mentioned.
What I find is these feet tend to look a little more organic, and the other feet are more robotic.
Yes.
With all the angles and everything. And I find that the structure on these feet tend to blend better with the figure overall than this. I don't know. It just seems to look a little odd.
And then, of course, you will also notice that the head sculpt is different. When you're looking at these two, you see that there's not much of a difference. When you look at this guy here, we actually have it in the open face mode, and that's because it actually, these two have a gimmick where it can switch from open face to masked version,
which is a pretty awesome thing that they added on, because it gives you that option, because Optimus Primes have been released with face and lip version for the movie Primes, right? So it's good to see that option.
Well, I guess ever since the beginning, it's how many times has a figure been released in one head and the other head, and now you're giving fans well, hey, look, now you can get both. It's sort of like the definitive version, the definitive head sculpt.
Yeah.
You'll also notice that on these, the accessories are completely different.
Oh yeah.
So the sword and the shield are completely different between the first release and then the newer one.
Yeah.
This matches like the actual movie sword, right?
Yeah, this sword, they just kind of came up with their own design just for the toy.
You know what I bet happened?
What's that?
I bet you production and actual development on this was happening before the movie sword was completed in the CG.
Yeah.
And so they went with this style in the production and in the prototypes, and then the movie comes out and they're like, oh crap.
Yeah.
It's the wrong sword.
It's highly possible. Is that it for physical differences? Oh, the arms. Yes, the arms. Yes, so with this one, that would be the regular release, he's just got regular forearms, but because this is the Armor Knight version, his forearms have more like a knight armor, like so that I guess he looks more like
plates, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that is another quite apparent difference that these two guys have. But I think we can start getting into the paint apps. Right away, you see some differences, like for example, the gold trims on various parts on the Armor Knight version. It isn't existent here.
You'll also notice that the red on the flames on this one is actually quite vibrant compared to the flames on this guy, which unfortunately are a little more muted.
While we have it on its side, we can see that chrome and chrome, silver for the wheels here.
Yeah, and I mean, to each their own. A lot of people like chrome.
Yeah.
I think just because there's already a lot of chroming on the grill and on the front of the
visors.
The visor here,
as well as the Western Star logo, which
Yeah.
isn't even chromed out on this version.
Exactly. I think because there's already some chrome here, I think the harmony of having the chrome on the wheels kind of matches this aesthetic a little bit more. But I mean, if they had gone with more of a brushed aluminum kind of aesthetic for everything else on this mold, I actually like brushed aluminum a lot. I don't know about you.
Brushed aluminum looks good if it's used appropriately.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So far, what do you guys think? I mean, is there one that you like more than the other? I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna go with the original Armor Knight. That would be my favorite. I mean, between these two.
I'm a fan of black.
Black, okay.
I really do like the Nemesis, and you know that for me, you know, I've had a lot of questions about the Black Knight Prime, and that's why I wanted to do this comparison as well. Whether it's worth it. This one, it does come at a little bit more of a premium because it's harder to get a hold of.
Yeah.
But I actually think that it is definitely worth it because the paint apps rival that of this, and I think the harmony of it as a whole is a little bit better. Spence, what's your thoughts?
You know, like I find typical whenever we do any of these comparison things, most of the time it's like Hasbro to Takara.
Yeah.
I feel that a blend of the two is always the top.
Yeah.
And I feel same here where the blend of these two would actually make the best figure. If you had these feet on this figure and you had this nice red on this figure, then I feel that would be your definitive version.
Yeah.
Because I like the red and blue. I like Optimus in the traditional colors. And while the Nemesis is nice, I think for my shelf, I would probably go more with the Optimus. And if I had to choose between the two, I would go with the second version, only because of the nice detail on the gauntlets and whatnot. But I can't stand this gold on the leg. It's just like,
why does it need to be there?
It makes me want to pull my hair out. Like, why? It just,
it doesn't belong.
It breaks up the synergy of the figure. So it's really hard to say, but I love the chrome rims, and I think that the changeable face is brilliant.
Well, maybe we should get it in the vehicle mode.
So what Spence pointed out before, this is not as bright of a red as this one. And actually now that it's in truck mode, I actually can see clearly why. This is more of a metallic red.
Yeah, well this looks more like a toy now that we've transformed it. This looks more like a model just because it's not so bright.
Yeah, and maybe, I'm not sure if it shows up clearly on film, but the actual plastic is different, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
This is like, there's some metallics in the plastic itself, right?
Yeah.
There is two in this one, but it's actually a different kind of, like this is a very uniform kind of metallic plastic blue, whereas this is like a dark and it's got like little speckles of metallics in it.
The consistency of the paint and the color is definitely better on this one than it is on this one. It's unfortunate because I do think that this red is still a little, I can understand what Alex is saying about it looking like a toy. This is very toy-ish, and the red is very toy-ish, where using a metallic red like this makes it look more higher end, a little more collectible type of thing. And I do believe that the chrome rims on this one really bring out the color a little bit more. This is a little dull and a little bit lost, where the chrome really helps make it look just a little bit better, even though there's so much chrome on the sides and whatnot.
Yeah.
Bling bling. If this had the tinted windows, it would actually probably look a little bit better. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Or maybe even just like clear windows.
But even so, a few slight details like the vents in the hood, the flames on the fenders, and the Western Star logo being all chromed, propel this into a much better, a much more collectible piece than, say, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then no surprise here, this follows the same kind of scheme except black and the teal, which once again, the teal really pops.
You know what? The black and teal looks so badass. This truck looks awesome. This is a vehicle or a toy that if owned, I would definitely consider keeping that in vehicle mode.
Yeah.
And there are very few that I ever want to keep in vehicle mode.
Yeah.
It does. It's a perfect consistency of the black, the teal, and the chrome. Everything, it balances really nicely.
Yeah, it goes together quite well.
Well, there you have it.
Yes, that is our comparison of the leader class Optimus Primes from Takara. Once again, this is the original version, the Armor Knight version, and here is the Black Knight version, which just came out recently, and maybe that will be the end of the Age of Extinction line.
I think so, because TF5 is
coming out
soon, around the corner.
Yeah, just around the corner.
Yep. So you may be done with this, but you will never be rid of the movies.
So in this segment, we're going to do a comparison between a couple of Function X series from FansProject.
Yeah, so if you look to the left figure, that's the originals. Of course, we have the Function X1. Then we have the, I can't remember, Function X3? Smart Robin?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, can't remember. And then we have the Function X5, which is the M.A.D.L.A.W, which was the most recent one. And just a little bit of background, of course, this is an homage to the Chrome Dome, Quick Switch, and then Brainstorm. Let's just start with, the Chrome Dome. This is actually meant to be recolored to make it more accurate to the toy colors. So this is Function X0, and that's basically got the grayish kind of head, as opposed to this, what a lot of people hated about this figure was the bright white. In terms of everything else in the paint aesthetics and whatnot, it's actually not that much more different, is it?
It's not super different, aside from because on the original figure, it had a big, red crotch area. So they made the crotch and the hips on this one red instead of the original one with the light tan. And then they made the legs consistent, the dark brown right from the hip down. So that's sort of your biggest difference in the plastic colors and whatnot. They did change the canopy from an orange to a more tinted one on this one. And then they changed the paint a lot, like the apps on the chest and on the guns. The biggest difference is in the head, and that's where people see right away exactly how different the two figures are. And of course, with the darker head and then the black on the guns, it makes it a little more uniform, but it makes the figure really dark.
It does. I keep telling people, a lot of people did miss the first one. It was pretty limited, from what I remember. And you didn't get to see it before you purchased it, so some people didn't actually buy it. They just bought it on the promise of a box and what it would be inside. So if you missed it, this is not a bad compromise to actually get this one instead.
Definitely
in the
not.
series.
I think
If you missed the first
an improvement, right?
Well, what I understand, the concept behind new figures is a new figure based off of the original. The concept on the first code is, when you create the figure, you look at it uniformly as a figure, and I believe they went with the colors that worked for the figure. I don't think it has to be exact.
No, not necessarily.
It's not a masterpiece figure where, the requirement is anime accurate or anything like that. This is an homage. And without even, there's no question in anyone's mind where the homage is. I don't see any reason why you have to mimic the original colors.
Yeah, and
The first code was good.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So then we have the Smart Robin and the Combs Robin, the X7, and I believe that's the X3. This, from what I understand, is Sonic Bomber.
Based off, the colors are based off Sonic Bomber, correct?
Which Sonic Bomber was not a headmaster.
He was not.
You know, in that sense, it's not really, if you really think about the figure that this is supposed to homaging, it's not really a direct translation, but you know, Hasbro's done that many times. However, the colors are brilliant on this. I actually do like this figure, and I do have this one. I kept this one because the actual colors work really well for this figure. They didn't really update anything else in terms of the mold or anything like that. Same head, so nothing interesting there, but really the paint apps are something to really look forward to on this one.
Definitely, unlike the code, this one is a completely separate figure. Now, personally, I would have liked a different head sculpt.
I was going to say they missed an opportunity.
Yeah,
there.
that would have made a really, really big difference on the figure. But all in all, when you look at the two figures together, they don't look the same, even though they're the same mold. So I think you can get away with this a lot more.
I do think it's worth it. If you do have the original Smart Robin, I think the Combs Robin is worth it. And moving on, we have the X6 Knight, and you know, it's actually the homage is it's in the name. It's 6 Knight, right? And that's from the Super God Master Force series. This one actually makes a lot of sense because the homage to Quick Switch was the M.A.D.L.A.W, and 6 Knight, from what I understand, is actually the same mold but recolored.
It's just a repaint in the original series,
Yeah, so this is just like
this one makes
the original homage.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
And the colors are legit. Like, they're definitely based off the original figures. So 100% it's homage.
Yeah.
Right from the original series.
Now on this one, I do have to say this is a particular case where I actually like the new color much more than the original color. Just everything about this color scheme really looks much cooler on the actual robot itself, robot mode. I'm not a big fan of all the other modes in general, so I'm not going to compare it in those other modes. But you know, the coloring is really great. I really wish that they maybe came up with this one first.
Well, you know, oddly enough, even on the original figures, which really wasn't a great figure, like to begin with, it was pretty bad. It's the same thing. With the two figures, if you put them together, the 6 Knight looks much better. It's just the balance of the colors. The sea green, I don't know, it just doesn't really work that great on a lot of figures. I can't imagine a lot of figures that do look good in sea green. So I know that the figure was obviously done this way because of the original figure, but this color is definitely much better.
Yeah, you're looking at more of like a clashing color harmony because of the red, stark contrast between the red and the green, to a kind of a almost like a monochromatic where it's like following the same colors but different shades of it all around. Even this gray kind of matches in because it's almost like a bluish kind of gray. So you get that real good harmony, and from what I understand and seen, the original figure is the same kind of harmony with the nice red highlights to kind of give it a little bit more character, so it's not just a very flat character either. Definitely this is a scenario where I would actually recommend this one if you had a choice between the two. If you already own this one, I don't know, sell it, get this one. Keep both. I don't know, but I really think this is a winner in terms of the color, and it really makes a figure that was a little bit less than desirable actually more desirable. And yeah, I highly recommend it. So just a quick note about the special recolors. They are shared exclusives, so it was an exclusive to Asia. Some shops imported it, and then it was also sold at conventions like the past TFCon in Toronto. So if you can get your hands on it at a convention or from Asia, definitely, look into that for at least this X6 and the X7. Otherwise, I believe we're sold out, unfortunately. But I did want to at least talk about that. Well, I wanted to bring to light the Function X line again too, because there are a couple of new figures coming out up for pre-order at ages3andup.com, which is the Croc and Browning.
Browning 2.
Sorry, Browning 2.
Browning 2.
Those two are highly anticipated and coming out very soon, so get your pre-order in. It is an amazing continuation of the line, so yeah, I'm really very, very excited to see what more this line has to give us. It's definitely one of the best ones out there.
And that's our episode for today. We hope you enjoyed it.
Next episode, we're going to take a look at MP18B, and for those of you who do know, that is going to be the blue and silver version of Blue Streak, the original MP18.
That's right, and of course today we did a lot of comparisons in this episode, so we want to know what you guys think. Which one of these would you end up purchasing? Because there's so many options out there, but we want to know what you guys would want to go with. So let us know in the comment section below, and as a friendly reminder, we'd like you guys to know, of course, that there's going to be a new episode in 2 weeks. Not next week, but 2 weeks from now. That's what we're going to go with our schedule.
That's right, every 2 weeks. Stay tuned to this channel.
So we will see you in 2 weeks, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, Ages3andup, and also follow us on Twitter at Ages3andup, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
We'll see you in 2 weeks!